Hi folks, Jeremy Cline with you. On this installment of OutdoorsNB, I want to talk about personal flotation devices. Personal flotation devices are categorized by Transport Canada as being approved for use on a pleasure craft only. That means they can't be used on commercial vessels as a life-saving device. But a standard life jacket is designed to bring your face out of the water, whether you're conscious or unconscious, and those are typically those keyhole style life jackets. The other thing that defines a standard life jacket is they come in two sizes. People under 88 pounds or 40 kilograms and people over 88 pounds or 40 kilograms. PFDs, on the other hand, they won't right you if you're unconscious. A PFD is basically added buoyancy to aid in keeping your body above water, part of your body above water. PFD is designed to be more functional than a standard life jacket, a keyhole life jacket, which is kind of limiting in how you can move because they're strapped around your waist and strapped around your midsection. Of course, your head's in, and they're quite thick. So a PFD is designed to be more functional, and they're designed towards specific sports or uses. I've talked with many suppliers, customers, and people in regards to one statement that I have a little bit of a problem with, and that is that you should pick a brightly colored PFD so that you're more visible. Now, I'm not going to dispute that in certain situations where you're in smaller lakes and rivers where you can be seen from the shore very easily and you're not very far away from a vantage point where someone can see you. But if you're considering kayaking on the Bay of Fundy or parts of the lower St. John River where you're going to be offshore a fair amount, I would dispute that the color makes as great a difference as some people would lead you to believe. Now, how could I say such a thing? Well, I've been on the other end of the stick, so to speak, outside of the kayak and in larger vessels where you could be able to see a kayaker. So I've spent most of my life on the water in one form or another, from small fishing vessels, aquaculture vessels, larger whale watching boats, right up to the 172-foot motor vessel Grand Manan, which is a ferry that runs from Black's Harbor to Grand Manan Island. And what I can tell you specifically from our whale watching company that our family used to own, the bridge of the vessel was roughly, your vantage point was roughly 20 feet off the water. And I can tell you from experience that from that vantage point, 20 feet up off the water, typically we didn't notice kayakers until we were within 1 nautical mile of them. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, the low deck height of the kayak, the low position of the kayaker's body in relation to the water, and the circumference of the earth. You can compound that by adding sea state or wave height. The higher the sea state, the higher the waves, even less you're going to see because they go down to the trough, and then you're only seeing a little bit of them when they reach the top of the wavelength. So you see them, then you don't. Typically, within that 1 nautical mile of our vessel, all you would see is a flash, a flash, a flash, a flash. And what that was, it wasn't even the color of the paddle. It was the sun reflecting off the water on the paddle at the right angle. So I'm not disputing that PFD color isn't important, but I will caution you that it may not be as beneficial as some people would lead you to believe. The only time, like I said, that it would be beneficial is when you're on smaller lakes and rivers, or it will be extremely important if you ever have to be searched for by aircraft, because then they have full vantage point of that color, straight line of sight, whereas the circumference of the earth and the waves kind of hinder line of sight if you're being searched for by water, or on land if you're really low. So it does have its benefits when air search and rescue is involved. PFDs are not designed with thermal protection in mind. They're designed, like we said earlier, to add positive buoyancy and to keep your body and arms free for movement. So the way that we create thermal protection is our layering of clothing, typically wetsuit or dry suit, or a combination of a paddling jacket, paddling pants. So what I have here is an example of that with the Level 6 Superior jacket. It's made of a waterproof, breathable material, so I'm not going to sweat as much on the warmer days in summertime. I still may sweat, but it won't be as bad because it does allow it to breathe a little bit. This jacket is designed with kayaking in mind. So it works in conjunction with the PFD, which is also designed with kayaking in mind. For relative ease of movement as well, it's designed to work with the paddling skirt. So up here at my chest is sewn in basically an overskirt. So my cockpit skirt will come up, the tunnel will come up underneath of this and sit up around my stomach, and I'll pull this down over, so it creates a difficult path for that water to flow to get down into the cockpit and to get me wet. Water draws off heat roughly 20 times faster than air, so if it keeps me dry, it's going to keep me warmer. So the jacket also works in that effect. And again, there are different manufacturers for paddling jackets. PFDs, Level 6 and Kokapad are just two examples. So keep that in mind when purchasing a PFD, that it's not going to keep you warm per se. I mean, it will add some thermal protection midsection on your core, but that's about it.
In order to ensure maximum benefit from your PFD, you should ensure that you select one that fits properly. If you plan on paddling in colder months, ensure that there's enough adjustment for extra layers of clothes. Most PFDs come equipped with side adjustment straps and shoulder straps. First, adjust the shoulder straps so the PFD is positioned where it's comfortable on your torso. Remember, if it's too low, it can interfere with the skirt. Then adjust the side straps so the PFD is snug and conforms to your body. Having the PFD snug will prevent it from popping up over your head should you end up in the water. To test if the PFD is snug enough, hold your hands over your head and have a friend pull upward on the shoulder straps. If the PFD rides up your torso, you should snug it up a bit more.
So the main points to keep in mind when looking for a PFD are functionality. You want to make sure that you have a good range of movement when you're wearing it. Another thing to keep in mind is how much buoyancy does it provide. All PFDs in Canada should have an information panel on the inside back of the PFD. It'll tell you how much buoyancy there is. And another point to keep in mind when selecting, which is also on the back panel, is the PFD approved for use in Canada by Transport Canada? To a lesser extent, as we discussed previously, you also want to check, color, how visible is it, if you believe that's important to you, depending on where you're paddling.